Yes! It's me, it's Craig. Hello. How are you? Nice to see you nice. Welcome to Flooded. My name's Craig, and I made a video a little bit ago saying that the new director of the Star Wars doesn't like George Lucas. Totally unfounded. No, she never actually ever said that. She probably likes him very much. But you kind of follow the path of where she is in her head, and it kind of ends up basically she doesn't like any men. That's what it sounds like. They're certainly not saying any nice things about them because she said she wants to make them all feel uncomfortable when they come to see her films. Her next film, our big project, is going to be the next Star Wars film. Star Wars, of course, probably the largest global franchise that's ever been made by Disney. Now, can you imagine being at a job interview where you go and tell them that you're completely untrained and unqualified for the job? Well, that is what she is. In fact, I am more qualified to make a Star Wars, the next Star Wars film than the currently appointed director is. And that's quite a thing to be able to say in a video, but it is a fact. I am more qualified to be the director of the next Star Wars film than the person chosen by Kathleen Kennedy. Now, the director who's been chosen to make the next Star Wars film has said that it's about time a woman started leading the franchise. Now, the last time I checked, Kathleen Kennedy was a woman, and she has been leading the franchise for over 10 years. So already the person who's been chosen to direct the next Star Wars film doesn't know anything about the franchise and the business end of making Star Wars. Has not even bothered to research that. I get annoyed. I'm annoyed with her because there's also this thing about privilege, isn't there? Because I'm a white straight male, so I'm probably the most privileged person on the planet. And the person who's been chosen to direct the next Star Wars film, the biggest global franchise in the global universe of the world, in the universe on Earth, is a Pakistani woman. You know, one woman. Well, you know, they're not advantaged, and being Pakistani, well. Well, my point is that she is probably not privileged like me, right? But let's have a listen to what she's had to say, bearing in mind that I make the claim that I am more qualified to make the next Star Wars film than the currently chosen director for the next Star Wars film is. Let me prove it to you. Here she is. Her name, by the way, is Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy. I think I got that right.
I think at the heart of everything, I am a storyteller and an activist. And my body of work...
I'm not. I am a storyteller, but I'm not an activist. And I think that being an activist probably does help if you want to make a biased documentary. It's better if you're a journalist. All journalists, of course, aren't biased. Anyone who is says they're a journalist and is biased isn't a journalist. See my tweets for more info on that at Fludded on Twitter, X. And so she's already saying that she's not a movie maker. But let's listen more to the award-winning director and journalist. Of course, we do remember just on that the Oscars went for a terrible time being told they were racist and sexist. So next time they held the Oscars, they started giving out lots of awards to women and and people of color and stuff like that. So you never really know. This is a problem with what's it called? Reverse racism. Is that when you do it, when you start, you stop giving people awards based on their merit on what they've done, and do it just based on their skin color or where they've come from or what their gender is. If you start doing that, then it's very hard to decipher who actually deserves it or not. And that's what's going to happen, and that's what is happening. But anyway, I'm sure she makes very good documentaries, all right? I don't know, but let's have a look.
Over the last 20 years has been guided by my activism, and every single piece of work that I've ever created has a piece of activism in it. It could be very overt or it could be covert.
That, I think, is kind of like key. She is saying that well, I don't really need to paraphrase what she just said. She said it very clearly. Everything she does has activism in it. Now, everything I do doesn't. because I know, I'll tell you what I know about, right? This is what I have been on location all around the world. I've been in Japan, I've all across Europe, in America, Jordan, Malaysia. I've been all over the world, and I've directed actors in the middle of the desert. I've directed torture sequences. I've directed medieval actors in castles. I've done all sorts of large casts, multiple cameras, lighting. I've scheduled things. I've budgeted things. I've looked into booking, catering, and transport, and I understand everything to do with scheduling and how long things take, health and safety. I've looked into insurance. I've been across all of the things that are involved in making a film, right? So that's my experience. BBC trained, by the way. I was trained at the BBC for 2 years to become a producer-director. I was the youngest producer of a Category 1 live outside broadcast on BBC One, 3-hour outside broadcast. And I was the youngest producer the BBC have ever had doing that. Okay, so I'm not blowing my own trumpet here. I kind of am, but I don't mean to. What I'm doing is telling you that I am more qualified. I don't want the job, by the way, but I am more qualified. I want the money. I don't want the job. I am more qualified than the currently chosen person to direct Star Wars, person to direct Star Wars. Let me go on and listen to this wonderful woman.
But it is there.
Tell us about herself.
And I think that as a storyteller, I'm not sure if all of you know this, but I'm not a trained filmmaker. So I never went to film school. I went to Smith College and did my undergraduate and studied economics and political science.
She studied political science. What you're about to say, like a good little Pakistani girl or something?
A good Pakistani girl.
Is that like a bit of a what men say to her? I don't know. It's kind of a dig there. But so she did economics, social economics, can't even remember what she said. What she hasn't studied is film. I got a postgrad diploma in film and television production. I've written music for film and TV. I've, in terms of audio and things like that, I used to work at Air Studios with George Martin, who used to produce the Beatles. I've met all the Beatles except John, because he was dead. And I've worked with many, many, many big names, and I'm sounding like this is just a video of me blowing my own trumpet. It's not. I'm comparing me, somebody who's not directing or not been sought out or not been approached to direct the next Star Wars movie, compared to the person they have chosen to direct the next Star Wars movie. Somebody who specializes in social economics. Are you getting it yet? Are you getting how it is absolutely virtue signaling and box ticking that's going on by Disney? It's shocking. Let's keep playing.
I did my graduate studies, but also in international politics. And so I am an accidental filmmaker.
She's an accidental filmmaker. So even the first thing she did, she didn't know what she was doing. She wasn't qualified at it. How horrific is that for people who want to start out in making documentaries for somebody? How is it also possible for somebody who is not privileged to get any of that, to achieve any of that? Surely we hear about the hardships of being a woman and the hardships of being Pakistani. And she went to Smith College. I don't know where that is. Is it in London? I don't know. I've never heard of it. I'm the ignorant one there. Maybe it's a very, very famous college. I do not know. But what I do know is that if you are somebody who is not got any privilege, you don't achieve things like what she's achieved. And here's somebody who hasn't got any privilege, who, even though she's massively unqualified to make the next Star Wars movie, the global franchise, the biggest franchise that's ever existed in the history of all filmmaking, not only is she being put in a position of being in charge of that, but she's been given that opportunity, considering that she's so massively underprivileged. So I am the privileged one. I'm the white male, straight male. So I've got masses of privilege, but I'm not directing the next Star Wars film. Political activists, the thing about them is they're not for having their minds changed. They are headstrong and set in their ways. What they want to do is drum in what they know. There's no question about anything they say. It's a fact. They know it. You aren't going to change their mind, and they're going to ram it home to you. And why would somebody like this miss out on the opportunity to put her politics into the next into the Star Wars franchise. It's going to be given the might of Disney marketing behind it. And here she is with this massive opportunity. Is she going to pass that up and just like make a nice little film about a hero, which is what we want? We just want a nice little narrative. We've all seen them before. We've heard it. We know the story. We know the story of the hero. Is that what she's going to do? No. She's not going to miss this opportunity to ram home that, men suck. She wants men to feel uncomfortable. She's already said that. See my last video. Isn't it interesting that she's there happily telling you how unqualified she is? I am more qualified to direct the next Star Wars film. Have I said that yet on this video? I am more qualified to direct the next Star Wars film, and I don't want it. I don't want to do it because I don't feel I am qualified to do it. I've directed actors. I've done budgets. I've done location work, insurance, vehicles. I understand the importance of scheduling and how you shoot things in the wrong order. And I understand narratives and script writing. I've done a postgraduate diploma in it. But she is this person with social economics degree or whatever it is she got, who fell into making documentaries, activism films, by accident, is being chosen by Disney to be the next director of the global franchise Star Wars, the biggest global franchise that's ever existed. Talk about jumping the queue. I'm not qualified to be the next director of the next Star Wars film, but I am 1,000 times more qualified than this woman. I hope this film's not good, by the way. Let's have a listen to what else she says, because she's not finished.
And then I did my graduate studies, but also in international politics. And so I am an accidental filmmaker. Thing at the heart of everything, I am a...
Right, okay, that's looping back to the start. Right, so that is Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy, the next director of the global franchise for the next Star Wars film. Absolutely the wrong person to do the film. I repeat, I am more qualified than her to make that film. And I don't think I'm qualified to make that film. So I hope you have a beautiful morning. Pop down Tesco's and have one of their breakfasts. In fact, Morrison's breakfasts are better. Enjoy. See you later. Take care. Goodbye.